Hello, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It depends on where you are. And I already see that there are quite a few people watching. Hello from Kuopio, Calgary, Canada, Worcester, is that Worcester, UK, Amsterdam, North Carolina, Switzerland. Yeah, we all already have quite a few continents. Unfortunately, it's very late in Asia and Australia, and there was Irvandi said that too bad start at 2 a.m. of Indonesia or in Indonesia. That's a hardcore fan if you're still there at 2 o'clock, and I hope the sound is okay because I've had some small sound problems in the previous ones, and let's hope that it is okay. It's not too loud because sometimes the sound has been a bit too wide. Let's wait for a little while and let's see where else are people from. Netherlands, Niagara Falls, Canada, Malta, Texas, Modine, Israel, Telford, Shropshire, Haifa, Israel. Okay, sound is good. Thanks, Ann Smith. And 3 at least from Israel. That's great. Brindisi, where is that? San Francisco. So we got all over the place. That's always interesting to see that. Okay, Wales, California. Okay, but I think we could start this today, and I will go through the 3 assignments. I have black and white last week, so you haven't seen it yet. I will put that in the description also after this live stream is over, because there were so many good images in black and white, and also now that I got the images from blue assignment, there are so many good images that could have also gotten its own live stream. And if this keeps on going like this, maybe in a couple of months I will need to have a live stream for every assignment. I don't know if I can do that, but it's getting harder and harder to choose the images for this, and the quality is just so good. It's astonishes me that the image quality is so good, and you really put your heart into the assignments, which is really something that I love. And I think it makes me really happy that I did this and was able to provide this for you guys and all this. But there's one thing I want to talk about before we start with the weather images. Tomorrow I will be on Jimmy Cheng's channel, Red 35 channel, with Rob Trek, and we will talk about the new OM1. We all 3 have used it for a couple of weeks now, and we will have a live stream on Jimmy's channel. That's channel Red 35. So if you don't follow or subscribe to Jimmy and Rob, you should. They both do very good OM system and Olympus content on their channel. So don't forget, that's 8 p.m. on GMT time tomorrow. So it'll be an hour later. Yes, is it? No. Yeah, hour later than this start today. So I hope you can join us tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting discussion about the new camera. And then it's time to start with 59 watching. That's a huge crowd. And let's see, before we start, we have New Jersey, Utah, Belgium, Poland, Minnesota, Germany. Then there is Italy. That's Brindisi, was in Italy. All right. Thanks for the info. Sorry for my ignorance on that. I've never heard that place before. Sorry about that. And then Texas, Puerto Rico. So we got, again, wide selection of different countries. And now I think we should go and talk about weather. This was already in, let me check which week was this, because these are a bit later. This is week 5. So it's a long time ago. And what I really liked about this is that when I saw these images, I remember them from the Facebook group, some of the images. And that's a good sign when I see an image that you have sent, and I remember that from Facebook, and we have to remember that there are thousands of images, and that's a good sign if I remember and kind of like see that and being glad that you send it to this one. And there has been some maybe a few things I have to make clear before we continue. There have been some misunderstandings about the images or the amount of images that you send to this. I would love to have all of your images on the live stream, but you can understand it's not possible at all, because it would, first of all, it would take too long, and there would just be too many images. And the reason you need to send it is just because copyright things. I cannot just rip them from Facebook, because there might be people in the photographs that you might not, want to be on a public video like this is, because the Facebook group, of course, is a private group and a closed group, so it's a bit different thing. You can share their images that you might not want to share in YouTube that are totally public videos, and that's why I had to do it this way. And only one image from that month. Usually it's 4 assignments, and you send me one image. And also it's because I want to have absolutely the best images on this. And then if you would send for every, there would be too many images to first of all to choose from. And then one part of the whole thing is also to understand and kind of learn to pick the best image. And of course, sometimes you might pick a wrong image, but that's also part of the learning, so that you learn to pick your own images. That's the hardest part, is to start knowing and understanding what is the best image when you're looking at your own images, because you always have a kind of like a personal connection to the time you took the image, and you might be really excited about getting that image, but for others it might be just a regular image and might not resonate with others as much as it does with you. So I'm looking for images that we can all relate to and we can all admire and feel good and feel bad, or depends on the mood of the image and what is your intentions when you took the image. So it's not only making the images, it's also selecting the best ones and understanding what it is. And I hope you have collected them in some kind of a folder, so that by the end of the year you will have 52 images for this assignment, which I hope is the goal, that you actually have 52 images that are taken more or less during that week. Of course, it's not that strict, because this is not a strict thing. If you don't have time in a certain week, then you take it next week or the week before. But try to do that image just during that week with that particular assignment. That's the goal. And also, there are some that are sending, straight away on Sunday or even on Saturday, the next week's assignments, when they picked up from the archives. And that is okay. I don't mind. It's okay, because that also is part of what you, what do you say? I mean, part of the learning curve is to go back to your archives and see if you have images that are from that particular assignment or fit into that assignment. And, maybe posting that if you want, but rather not. But look at those images and get inspired. And I know that there are some images that you have taken before that you're really proud of and want to share it. And yeah, why not? But try to do that image again, or even better, during that week. So that's the best way to learn. Not just go through the archives and post that and then just forget it. That's not the point. But of course, you can do whatever you want. But now, I think I've talked so much, I need to... And let's go and start with the first image. Maybe I'll have myself up there so you... And this is a very classical way of making images. There's tons and tons of images that you've taken from inside a car, and you see this... what do you call this? There's the side mirror. That's what it's called. And on this one, I think it's just hilarious where you have the rain and then you have the truck, which is called rain stoppers. I think this is just marvelous image because of that. It just makes me laugh because and it's also very classical street photography where you have something and then you have a text that kind of adds up to the image, and I think this is just marvelous image that goes. Let me put that, and this is Philip Dente who sent this image, and I will have that this way so we can see, and there you can also see the some information, EXIF information about the image, if that might be sometimes interesting. But of course on this I think the aperture is more interesting so that you can understand and see how much depth of field there is. And this is a good example also of an image that doesn't need to be shot with the full open. This is f22 which was used, and you have everything is sharp in this image. But of course, you have to remember that sometimes stopping down too much might cause some unsharpness of the image because of the diffraction that goes on, after f8. But on this one, it's not a problem. I think it's a good choice of aperture on this image because you want to have everything sharp on this image, and I think it's a good choice. And as always, when you see an image, the shutter speed and aperture might not be that interesting or that important, but on certain images, it's really good to learn and see. Okay, it was 1/20th of a second. That's not because there is no motion blur. It's just because of the small aperture. That's why you need to have a slower shutter speed. But well done, Philip. I really enjoy this image. Let's see what we have next. And another classic. This is also a side mirror of a car in a rainy day. I like the effect the water droplets have on the mirror. EM5 Mark II with 14 to 150 millimeter lens. And he only submitted one photo during that week. And that was his second choice. And this was Alan Cooper. Oh yeah, John Alan Cooper, as you can see from the EXIF data. And yeah, this is also a classic, a bit different approach. You have the glass, which has the water drops, and usually water drops have nice reflections and like this, and also the background. And this one was made with f5.6, so you have a lot more depth or less depth of field, more bokeh, which we will have also images later. And then you have the difference between the exposure or the luminance value. You got a bit darker background, and then you have brighter mirror. And if you see the mirror, it looks like it's not only raining but also quite windy. If you look at the trees around here, that looks like it's a bit windy. It might not be. It might be just because of the what do you call it? It goes through the water drops, and that makes it a bit odd looking image. Rain and what's let me check a few. The rain and snow in one image reminds me of my right, rain and snow in one image reminds me of my local right now. Also looks like the truck slid off the road. Okay, that was the previous image. Yeah, rain and snow at the same time. It's not very uncommon here in Finland. It's usually at this time of year that's what happened. It still rains quite a bit, or yeah, rains because it's getting warmer, and it's not below zero that often anymore. So most of the stuff that comes down from the sky is rain, and that's mixed with the snow on the ground. It's awful. Everything is gray and awful. But this image, and I also like that it looks like a black and white. It almost is a black and white image, but then you have this slight green tree there, and there's probably a house or something over there. That's what it looks like. And also the composition is really well done because you don't need to see the whole mirror. I think this partial mirror here is well done, and I like this image. It's not the obvious choice to make when you're making an image like this, but I think it works real well. Yeah, this is a good point with Kitty. What he says. I also like the choice of the square format for this. That's true. That's true. Yeah, the distortion may be making it look windy. Yeah, that's what I thought. It could be the distortion, but it doesn't matter. I think it adds to the image anyways. That's what it looks like when it's raining. And usually there is some wind at the same time. And we go to the next one. And this is Alexander Grigorov, a snowy hike in the Balkan Mountains, straight out the camera JPEG. It's most likely an Olympus camera. It doesn't say what the camera is, but it's an Olympus 12 to 40 millimeter lens. So most likely it's an Olympus body. And yeah, JPEG sometimes can look really good. Let me put that like this so we can see it a bit better. And what I like about this is, of course, that you can see the snow. This is important in an image like this. And usually, as you can see, when you want the snow to be visible, or the snowing or the snowflakes that are falling down, you need to have something darker in the background. You don't see them here. It just looks a bit smushy and unsharp. But when you understand that there is snow, then this looks really the way it should. And then red hat here and a blue coat makes this interesting. Usually people have, in the winter, I don't know why, dark clothes, which doesn't make any sense. As you have probably seen on my videos, I usually have a black jacket and black jeans and, black shoes and black gloves and a black camera. The only thing that I might have is the yellow hat, but sometimes I even have a black hat. But this one makes it, and also the moment that the image was made, there's, really enjoying themselves. There's a smile on his face, and he's talking to her. And what's also funny, if you have noticed that when two people are walking, they walk in sync. There's always, just next time you go out somewhere where there are a lot of people, and if there is a couple or two people walking, they will walk in sync eventually. Okay, they might start a bit, but they will go to sync, and that's also a good subject for photographs, to photograph that sync. I don't know where that comes from, but that's the way it is. And here you can see that also, that they are almost in sync, or actually they are. And also the composition is nice. You can see the background here. You see the path where they're going, and then they are perfectly positioned in the frame. And I think this is a marvelous image and tells a lot about the weather that was when this was taken. It's clearly about weather, which is always a plus if you have the image, so that it would be a totally different image without that particular weather that was caught in the camera. And let's continue. Let me see. So, yeah, this is actually what William says about dark clothes. Photographers should wear dark, as I've been told. And yeah, there is a really good reason why photographers wear dark clothes, is so that they don't reflect from shiny surfaces. If you photograph a house, for example, and there are windows, if you're wearing white or yellow, you will be on the window. My problem is my hair, because there's always this. If I have black and then there is this bright ball sticking out of the window, so I need to have a black hat, and sometimes a ski mask is also good, where you have only the eyes and then you don't see if that's something that you really need to photograph a lot. But of course, walking around with the ski mask in a city photographing might be a bit suspicious, so not recommending that. But sometimes you just need to do that. All right, we got some from Vienna and Puerto Rico. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Yeah, let's take the next image and look at this. Yeah, this one was I remember this from the Facebook group, and I immediately caught my eye because it's a great composition. Because you would think that it's more interesting the building and what's in, what's there. Is there a terrace? There's a lot of people or something, but it would be most likely too busy if you would show more of that building. And then when it's made like this, the storm is a lot stronger. And if you look closely, you can see that there is a boat over there. It's something that you don't see immediately because, of course, the beach club Copacabana will catch your eye, and then you will start looking at the water. What I would do is maybe crop a bit from here. There's maybe a bit too much up there, but it depends on how you use the image. This is fine, but I would maybe crop a bit from the top. That would probably make the attention more towards here. But it's a marvelous image, and I really like. And also the color contrast, that this is red, and then you have all the blue around here, and I think that's very nice. And let me put the name. So it's Faisal who took this image. And this was in Netherlands. A rescue boat of the Coast Guard is leaving the harbor to respond to an SOS message on the North Sea. Yeah, that's a tough job to do. Really, really tough if you need to go and rescue someone, and hopefully they manage to rescue the ones that were in trouble. Yeah, I think this is a really marvelous image, and it really shows the weather well. Yeah, this is walking around with ski mask, photographing windows in a particular, maybe troublesome. I know. Yeah, that's why I don't recommend doing that. Are you talking about? Are you, William, talking about this? Is this through a window? Big white line straight through the photo on the right. Are you talking about this image or the one that the previous image? Ian, let's check the next one. And this is an image by Gene Samet. This is not the day to walk around bare feet or whatever. Well, someone did, because the shoes are there. And I think this made me smile when I saw this image, because this is something odd. You start asking questions. Why are the boots there? Maybe they're planted there for the photograph. I don't know. But anyways, I think this type of images that you start asking questions and wondering why this is going. And then the composition is slightly off, but that also adds to that why it's like this and why there is room like this. It makes it more of a snapshot, which it's a good thing sometimes. And I kind of like the way this is a kind of moment in a way, because it is a bit off the composition and the cropping or the framing of the image, and that what makes it a bit interesting. I don't know how this image would have been if it was made a bit from a lower angle and you could see more from what's back there. There might be nothing, but it looks like there is a slight hill going up here. As you can see, the shadows are bending a bit, so there might be something calm in the background which could also work on this image. But yeah, I think this one was quite cool. And these type of things in odd places are also interesting, because of the questions you start asking yourself. Why are those shoes there? They look nice shoes, but they're not most likely left there or something like that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Gene is here, he could tell. Yeah, that's probably what Karen is saying. Someone skiing or skating and changed their boots. That could be it. That could be it. But, have some ice skates, because you could see that there might be an ice rink, not ice rink, but a place to skate over there. Or maybe skiing too. That could also be it. We don't know. And that's a part why this image is so interesting, because we are not sure what's going on and why. Yeah, and let's go to the next one. And this one is Krishant Lothia is this is San Francisco in the background. I saw the boat out near the city, and it was stationary for a couple of minutes while I snapped this image. And I think this one was yes, it is a image made with iPhone. And yeah, I remember this image too, and I was very happy that there is the sailboat there, because otherwise, of course, it could have been a good image without that. But it's still quite an important element when you have here. And then you also have this one, which looks kind of like a sailboat, and the silhouette and the color tones and everything are so great. This could have been in blue section too, because that could have worked also. But I think the weather is the one that this was meant for. Well, it's in the weather category anyways here. That's where I put it. And you see the I don't know what this is called it's kind of like a sea fog or something. That's the Finnish word for that, which works really good. And yeah, don't I totally agree that the lone boat is the most important part, and of course the background is just great, and the sky too. It's everything about this image is just works. Then we have Kathy Swain, who took this Niagara Falls, and let me see what she says. I hate mornings, but we'll get up 2 hours before sunrise to get a good spot along the rail at the brink of the falls. Watching the colors pre-dawn changes the hues of the river. Pure magic. And this photo has won first, second, and third place in 3 separate competitions. And now another thing, it made my live stream. In the competition that I played first, there were 3,689 other images in the category of water. I was over the moon with the results. Of course, you should be really proud of this. And it is a marvelous image. And I remember this from the Facebook group. And I think these are really interesting in the front, because they look like creatures, and they are kind of like watching the sun. And then you have the water. It's just, there are so many layers in this image. And of course, that's it's not fog. Is it fog? But anyway, it's from the water, and it kind of blocks the sun so that it's not too bright. And then you have the star. It doesn't have the EXIF data. Be interesting to. Oh, there is something. I used a built-in neutral density filter built into Mark III to smooth out the water. Yeah, so he had used the live ND filters on her camera, and that's a good feature to do images like this, because let me turn myself off so you can see the whole image. You don't need to hassle around. It was minus 15 on when she took this image, and setting up the filters and try to screw them on and everything. Live ND is so much better. So if you have a camera that has it, then try it and use it. It works really well, and the effect also looks exactly the same if you had a real filter. So there is no difference in how the image looks. It's totally the same thing. when it comes to the final image. Then we have Andy Long. This is a good example of the weather. You don't really see the rain, but you can understand it's raining, of course, because you have the umbrellas, and then you have someone selling, making hopefully a good money because of a bad weather. And it's interesting and to see what they are looking for. They're picking up which one they want. And I like the composition that the umbrellas are here in the front, and I think that's a good thing. Another interesting part, of course, is here, but then the umbrellas would not be that obvious because I think there is something else being sold over there. But so that this kind of like takes us to the image, and I think this one is really a great image. And I like the one that this person is a boy or a girl is kind of peeking that and knows that Andy is taking the image, which kind of makes it interesting that he or she is looking around and taking note that someone is making the photograph. But yeah, I would add a bit contrast to this because they are quite colorful, so a bit contrast would make it even better. But I like this type of images, and it tells a story about the weather without showing the actual rain. Oh yeah, Don is totally right. A guy who prays for rain every morning. Love images that hint at subject. Yes, yeah, that's their sunny day when they see that it's raining and they're making a living for their families, and that's why it's also a good thing. Rain sometimes. It might be a bad day for others, but the one who's selling the umbrellas, it's a day that to make them money. And let me see. What else do we have? And then we'll go to the next one, to blue. And this one has a bit more images than the weather one. It was a very high quality and quite a lot. I think there were more images for blue than any other assignments this time, and I can understand why, because the images from this assignment were really good. It's when I watched them on Facebook, when you started posting them, I didn't really think that they were so great. Now the images that you guys sent me looked a lot better. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there was a bit of a distance to the assignment. But let's go on this one. And I don't know when this image was made, but I think this is, now that we know what's going on in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine, the blue and the yellow, I think this is a very strong image, and probably wasn't made for that purpose. I think the blue was before everything went sour over there. And I think this just works, and it works for that blue too. And I don't know why there is some weird looking. Now it's a lot better like this. You don't have the odd looking patterns. I don't know what do you call those patterns that you see here? What do you call those? What is that? Let's see. Great contrast. Yeah, I love the brow and sad blue face. Yeah, it is a sad blue and yellow face, which I can understand. Is that Ripples Moire? I don't know what's that called. It looks like Moire. It's funny how it is when I make it the whole it goes away. I wonder how that happens. But yes, really good image, Ian. Yeah, let's go to the next one. And then this one I remember from the Facebook group, and it is an airport. And let me see what what Kitty says. I knew the floor at the at the mall at Millennia is a beautiful blue and thought there might be a good opportunity for a photo. Looking down from the second floor balcony, I saw the red coat with the suitcases, and as quickly as I could, leaned over to catch her. Yeah, I think it was a good catch, and the red coat, and then you have the blue floor with all the nice reflections, and it's really blue on this, and it's even better looking in the live stream where the blue is really popping out. And things like this, when you have an assignment and you know a place, try to take advantage of that. And that's also when you have the list. I actually have the list here. You have the list with all the assignments, and just read it every now and then and look what's coming up. And when you go to places and you remember, okay, it's going to be yellow in few weeks around Easter time, surprise. And yeah, if you know a place where you have something yellow that could work on that on your assignment, just put it in your mind or write it to your notebook or somewhere, and then go there when it's time for that assignment. That's always a good thing when you excuse me, a good thing when you kind of like pre-visualize and you think ahead and memorize different places. When something you want to photograph, you have a need to photograph something, a place, okay, it's better to go there evening, and another places are better for more in the morning because of the light and everything. And that's what she did. She knew the floor, and then she went there and was a bit lucky to have the lady with the red coat and two interesting looking suitcases. But the main point here is that she gave the luck a chance. This would not have happened if she wasn't thinking about this place and go there to see if there is an image. And voila, there was. One of the greatest images in this, I think. Yeah, I agree about the perspective. It is sometimes it's good to look up or down. You to get totally different perspective, and also if you're up somewhere, you might be able to get candid images. So that's a good. Okay, this one is also what William is saying, that I read the assignment on every Sunday when it starts, so I have the week to plan and shoot. Otherwise, I'll probably get distracted by the actual assignment. Yeah, that's a good approach, and we all have different approaches. And I'm not saying nothing's the wrong approach. You just choose the best approach that you have. The only thing that matters is the image that comes out of your process. If all your images are not, or you're not getting better, then there might be something wrong with the approach, and then you might start to do something else if that happens. But I have to say that the image quality is astonishingly good on every assignment. But let's move on. And this is Jonas Trümper, and this is the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin. And when I saw this, I think this is the best image of that place that I ever seen, including my own, because I've been there a couple of times, but haven't really gotten this stunning image and the interpretation of this memorial. If you ever have a chance to go to Berlin, you need to see this. It's phenomenal, the whole memorial. And I really like the way it kind of feathers to total brightness. It's this is something so great, and of course the color blue on this, because it was the blue assignment. And I think this is well, I've lost my words when I look at this image and what it represents and what it is all about. Yeah, this is just great. Let's look at this image for a little while. All right, let's go to the next one. This could have also been about weather, but I think it was in the blue. I hope I made it correctly. Anyways, it's a great image. It doesn't matter. I probably would have picked it for weather too. And let me check that we are on the same page. Yeah, it's Lindsay Whelans who made this image. It is from Toronto, Canada, Woodbine Beach. It was a cold Sunday morning and the start of the blue assignment. We brought our kids to the beach to play to nearby playground. I was able to sneak away as I saw the blue Muscoda chairs. In my limited time, I tried a few different compositions, but this one much tighter and timing of the person walking in the frame by the arm taking steps was pure luck. But yet again, you went there, you observed the things, took a few photographs, and then all of a sudden you see something and you were ready. And that's it's not luck. Of course, it's luck. There's nobody else, and then you have this one person. And what I like about this also, let me see if we can see it a bit closer. Look at the position or the moment she took this image. Just perfect moment. And then you have this big chair and really tiny person in the background, which is actually a quite an important element on this photograph. It adds so much to this photograph that there is a human being. If it usually humans in images, they're good, scales to things, but on this one, of course, we all know that the chair isn't that big compared to that person. Of course, the person is smaller because it's further away. And then, of course, the sky is perfect, the colors and everything. This just works, and it's not the obvious image. It's bright, and it's there's not a bad thing to say about this image. It's great. It's totally great. Congrats for this image. Let me see. Difference in scale, yes. This is a good point. Yeah, that's one thing about this is the scale. And what we have next? Let me turn the page. Then we have this from Anne Kasurinen. She actually put her head inside a plastic bag, which you're not supposed to do because that's bad for you. But this is a really haunting image, and let me see what she said about this. Picture was made for blue assignment, and honestly, this was the first and pretty much only idea that came to my head. Pull a blue plastic bag over my head and just a small hole in the bag that I can get the eye contact in the pic. Camera was on the tripod and used custom self-timer to take a shot in natural light. It was cropped a bit and then she, added some blue to it. But this could be a photograph from a movie or like a movie still or something like that. And I think this was an interesting approach. I would never guess that when I made this 52 assignment that someone would, stick their head into the plastic bag and take a selfie. It's come on, you don't do that. But I think this is just a marvelous and a great image. And of course, the blue eyes works on this too. Only thing that could have been if now I don't know if that's the black part, the middle part of the eye could have been a bit bigger, then there would have been a bit more scary look. Now this, I don't know, it works anyways. And you have the catchlight there in the middle of the eye, and it looks actually more dramatic on the screen. But yeah, this was also one of the best images in my opinion from the blue set of images. Oh, there it is. Reminds me of Fellini. Oh, though Anna is here. It is a desperation, I guess. Don't like selfies. Well, that's a good start. I think this is one of the best selfies I've seen. I really like this image. Let's go to the next one. Then we have Let me take some water. Then we have, let me check who it is. Wolfgang Medlich, yeah. Just to be sure that I'm on the right track here. When it is cold outside, I feel like taking images at home. The title here could be "Feeling Blue but Round." Yeah, that's a good name for the image. And when we see this, of course, there's most likely been some blue light here, and then some brighter lights on either side, because you can see here a light and here, and then of course you can see light here and there, and there's a spotlight over there. Not sure how many lights been used. Probably one over here, one on the side, and then one on this side, which is, and then there might be actually a third one because they are so strong, these shadows on this side. And this is always one thing that you need to be cautious on these, is that when you have a round object like this, you want to see the shape, and on this one you can. And then also, if there are too many shadows going, in many different directions, it's usually a bit too busy, the image. And that's something always to remember. These type of images, they look simple, but they're really hard to make. And I think on this particular image, Wolfgang made it so that it's not too busy. It's a bit, how would you say, futuristic, and you don't really know what's going on, or an old movie, maybe an old alien, the not the alien, but the space aliens that are attacking, and I don't know, something that came to my mind. Of course, then it would have to be black and white, but anyways, and also lighting the background is important on these, so that you have really good separation from the background, and this one has. And of course, light is something that you light things so that you have a good separation from the background, and that's important on these type of images. And then of course the composition, that you have them on different levels, so that you have different layers to the image. You have the big one here, then you got small here, and then you have the background, and then there is, I don't know, probably a table and then a backdrop or something in the background. But this type of images might seem, like I said, simple, but they're really hard to make. And also playing around with light. This type of images, if if it's too cold, rainy, and you just feel like photographing, grab some object from what you have at your home, and then just start playing around with light. Just to have a flashlight and go around and see how the shadows go and how the shapes differ with different type of lights, and have some reflectors on the other side and things like that. So that might teach you a lot about light, because light is very important. Because if you don't have light, you don't have shadows, and if you don't have light and shadows, you don't have any kind of dimension in the photograph. Usually, if an image is totally flat, it's not very interesting. But of course, it depends on the style. But in most cases, you need to have light and shadows in an image. So this is a good example of that, and I think this is well done. Let me go to the next one. Let me see if that is. This also is a good example of slight blue. That is blue, this one here. And it is not that obvious, but it's there. And this could have also been in Bokeh, to be honest, this image. It could have worked there too. This is Emilio Das took this image. And this is New York in the background, and you have the blue on the rails, and of course the bluish city, because usually we think the big cities, they're blue. The color is usually blue for some reason, and that is of course the buildings, the high buildings that usually are made of glass, or not made of glass, but the frontal is made of glass, and it reflects the blue sky, and that's why we have the impression that they are blue. Let's go to the next one. And then we have Jack's image, which is something that I was suspecting to have more images of the Smurfs. And of course, if you have the color blue, the Smurfs, of course. And this is also well done. What do you call it? A still life. And of course, the light in the background is really nicely done. And then you have, it's like a stage light, as you see, they're like on a stage, and it's really well executed light, and the blue background works really well. And then this slight yellow light also adds a bit of a contrast. And of course, the yellow hair is here. So you get only two colors, and then of course white, and you have the black here. So it's kind of like four colors, black and white, and then you have yellow with different shades of yellow, and then you have the blue, and yeah, the white. I said that already, and I think that makes this a really good image. You kind of limit, you limit the amount of different color tones, which on this one is one part of the blue. Let me see what he said. First thing that came to my mind for the blue theme was the Smurfs. So I built a setup for a theater in a blue crate from the local supermarket and let the light come in nicely. Then he asked if I'd like it or not, but he had fun to do it. And that's one part of this. Always try to have fun making this, because there's some horrible things going on in the world right now in many places, and we need to have this type of stuff to make images to keep our minds sometimes not on the bad things, and it's kind of like a feel good thing, and I think we need that, and that's something that we really should do on a times like this, if you have the strength. I know there are some people who have been sending me messages that they would love to continue, but they just cannot because they have friends and family in Ukraine, so they are concentrating on helping them, and of course that's the most important thing right now. But we have to take care of ourselves too, and making some photography, if that's or something we love, or if we have any other hobbies, we need to do that to keep our minds so that we don't lose it. But I know it's a horrible thing, and you know, you cannot totally forget it, and you shouldn't either, but try to keep your health in good shape so that you can go on with your life. And then was Ruth Meyer was playing with wine glass and blue and white background, used a flashlight to highlight the center of the background, and this looks so cool. And this is something every one of you should try to play around with and see what you come up with. I think this is just perfect, almost perfect. I don't know if this small mistake here is a big thing. I don't think it is. I think it's just fine. You need to have something like this that is a bit distracting, and just it just is one of those images that you don't really have any words. You don't really have anything to say that this could be better, this and that. I don't, it just works like this perfectly. And when you photograph in glass, usually it is good to have the light behind the glass, illuminating something that reflects the light through the glass. Then you have the shape, and you don't have any unwanted reflections on the light. There are some here, but doesn't matter. But the important thing is that there is no distracting reflections here, and this is the time to wear black so that you don't show here. So it's because it's a pain to Photoshop someone out from there. But this one is really, really well done. Let me see if there is any comments. And yeah, I think I totally agree with Jesse. Photography is an excellent form of meditation. Yes, it is. And it does. Looks like a knight's shield. It does. It does. Yeah, that's also lighting in general should be one of the weekly themes. That's That's true. I'm not, to be honest, I don't remember if there was something about, but it is always about light. That is important. Yeah, let's continue. I was reading the comments and see if there is something to pick up. Then we have this image from William Hansen, and was playing around with the lens ball and microscope mode on TG6. This is actually a small lens ball laying on my phone with blue hour background from my phone. Had to put some Vaseline on the screen to hold the ball, which gave the small mountain look on the ball. The light background and cracked lens ball makes it look like a small planet with a huge mountain visible from the space. Yeah, exactly. I kind of, when I saw this image, it was this really small, and I said, that's odd looking moon, and wanted to see it more closely. And this is, you don't know what it is. I think it just looks good. And I think that's the most important on this one. And of course, the form and different color shades and different shades of blue, and then some warmer colors here makes it a bit better. And then of course, the mountains here. And then you have, I don't know, this could also be pretty good actually if this was green. So this could be the northern lights behind this planet, but it works like this also. It is like an image from the space. And you could add some, spaceships here that are coming. But yeah, really cool looking image. Really cool looking image. If you're still here, William, do you have anything to say about this? Did you have fun making this? But we have to go on. And then we have Henna Ragnell, who took this. This is food color liquid drop with pipettes in water. For visual reasons, I wanted the lid of the glass to be closed, so I added a thin layer of vegetable oil in the top of the water and dropped the colorant drop on the layer. That's a very good hack. It took a while to color to get through the oil layer before it reached the water, so I had time to close the lid and wait for the curls. I'm not sure, but I think the oil also kept the color curls more sharp. Yeah, that's probably true, and that's a really good hack. Never would have thought that, because yeah, I totally agree that when the jar is closed, or the lid is on top, and as you can see here, it is closed. It looks odd, and that's a good thing, because then it's just you start wondering that how's that happening, and you don't really see, because there is a curve over here, and you don't really see that there is some oil on the water. It would look a bit different, but now that it's just well done. This could be a good set of images with different colors of this food color. You put red and yellow, and then you have like a triptych or something. That would make an interesting set of images. So play around with this a bit more. I think it's a good kind of like subject for those rainy and cold days. Just to do this, I really like this approach. Yeah, let me get some water. All right, we've been here for an hour already. And now, if you didn't or wasn't here at the beginning, tomorrow we will have a live stream, or Jimmy will have on his Red 35 channel live stream, where we discuss with Rob Trek and I. With Jimmy, we talk about the OM1. So if you have it, or if you're interested in that, you want to see that, and it's going to be 8 p.m. GMT tomorrow. And if you don't follow or subscribe to Jimmy and Rob, you should. Right after this live stream ends, go to their channels and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And of course, if there's someone who hasn't subscribed to my channel, please do that too. But now, let's continue, and let's try to do bokeh. And we have this one, the first image, this could have gone also with the blue. Let me turn myself off so you can see the whole image. This one is, let's check this is Ari Kalliala, and it made with the 60mm macro. And what he says here is the nano SIM card standing on a table, on a tablet computer, display off, backlit by LED panel with honeycomb grids. And it's made with the 60mm macro lens. But this could have also been a good sample for blue, because that's what I first thought I remember, but it was actually in bokeh. And here we can see the bokeh. And this was something that we discussed quite a bit during this week. There was someone who was actually made a big post about bokeh and what it actually is. And, you know, usually it is the blurry background, and then you have the bokeh balls, which these on this one. Okay, it's a honey grid on this, so it's not technically a bokeh ball, but it's bokeh. And then of course you have the reflection from the tablet and the nano SIM card. And this could be something as an illustration about technology or something like that. This could work on that. You would have some text on here, or maybe even here. And I think this is visually really pleasing, and it looks actually a lot better on the live stream over there. It's a bit or not that contrasty on my screen, so it looks better on your screens. And yeah, looks good. Okay, hello from Tel Aviv. And let me see who was. Yeah, there was. I'm just checking out the comments. Yeah. And then we go to the next one. Then we have this, which really nice and smooth background. This was made with the 300mm f4 lens and caught these willows along the local river while it was birding. Yeah, that's something that a lot of you bird photographers do, that there might be some times that there are no birds, then you can look around with this. And one good thing about the 300mm, for example, is that it can actually focus quite close, so you can get images like this, and you do not have to crop them that much. And the details here, and really creamy and nice background. And on an image like this, I think it has its place, the really shallow depth of field, because then you really have the separation from the background. The colors are quite similar. If you look at the color of this, it's quite close to this. And if there wasn't any separation from the background with the shallow depth of field, this could be a too busy image. Now that it is really calm and nice background with nice looking bokeh, then it's a lot better. And then of course you have this bright water drop here, which kind of lights up the whole image in a way. And I think this is really, really a great image. And also the details, as you can see here. Look at the details. You can really see the details here. Oops, sorry. And look at here too. It's actually a bit sharper here than there. So the shallow depth of field is quite shallow. So it looks good like this, but actually this is a bit sharper than this one here. But I'm not saying that this is unsharp, but it is slightly sharper on this one. This is just a bit further away, and that's why it's not as sharp as this part here. But yeah, I think this is a really beautiful image, and it's a bit melancholy too because of the gray background. So there's not too many colors, and it's not a black and white image. You can see that there are some colors here, but it's still kind of, I don't know, some sad vibe to the image. But it looks very good. Then we have this image that was made by Artturi Mustonen. And what I like about this is that you have the bokeh shape is exactly the same as the subject. And this is totally cool looking image because of the odd looking bokeh here. And it's kind of like it replicates the shape of the subject. And then of course how to place these bolts, I think these are, and it's not an easy image to make so that you get a perfect setting here. And of course light is important here. because these are shiny objects, and every light source that you have in the space will be visible on this. So you need to have the room totally dark, and then you start building up the lights. Usually when you start building up the lights, it's better to have less lights than adding every time and you see something to more lights. The more lights you have, the more complicated the whole thing gets and harder. So try always, if you do something like this, start with one light and start seeing how it works, and then play around with the direction of the light and maybe have some reflectors, and then you might add a third light, a second light, and then third maybe. But then you have 3 times more problems if you have 3 lights. So always try to do with one light, and that's usually enough. Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, these are nuts, not bolts. Thanks. Yeah, this is true. This is good. This could be a kind of like an advertisement too for those nuts. This could work real well for that. And then let's go to the next one. This made me laugh really when I saw this. This is so hilarious. This is so hilarious. Let me turn myself off again for a little while so you can see the whole image. And this was, let me check. Yeah, Richard Posty. And there you can see the EXIF information. It was made with 45mm f1.8 lens, which is a really good lens. One of the best Emzuiko lenses and that money can buy. It's not very expensive, and it's a stunning quality. But yeah, this Minions, he said that I'm quite a Minion fan and really enjoyed this assignment. In my back garden, I set up 2 lighting stands and camouflage netting with solar lights hung down from the top. It took a while to get the lights to look evenly spaced on the netting. I placed the Minions on a wall in front of the backdrop and took quite a lot of images until I got the one that I pleased with. Yeah, can you imagine if you have a moving subject, a real person on an image like this, how many images you need to take or make so that you get the perfect one? And because I would say that this probably behaved like he wanted, but this is just fantastic image, and the bokeh is so cool looking, and all the colors, and you get everything going on in this image. You could say that it's too busy, but it isn't too busy because you have the subject here, and again, it looks a bit better on your screen. I do have it a bit washed out here, but that's good. It's better than it looks good in your screens. But yeah, images that makes people laugh is a good thing. It's usually a good feel image, unlike this one is, and you have a bit of humor here too, so that's always a good bonus on these type of images, or on any assignment. It's not that serious. If you can make people laugh, that's a good thing. And then let's check out the next one. And this one also is, well, there is a lot of symbolism on this image because of the colors blue and yellow behind the fence, and it's kind of reminded me of the sad things that's going on. But still, I think this image, without the idea of blue and yellow and the horrible things that's going on, is still a very good image, because the bokeh here is kind of giving to the feel quite a lot, and that's always important to have. If the image assignment is like, let's say, bokeh, and without the bokeh, the image would not be the image that it is, or it's not as good as it would be with the bokeh, then you've kind of accomplished the assignment and made the point on that assignment. It's always an assignment to have the image so that without the thing, it would be not that good. so that the story part is kind of told with the assignment subject or matter, whatever the subject is. And that's sometimes quite easy when you have a car or a bus or something. Then it's, of course, it's easy. You have a bus and you have a car. But if you have something like bokeh, then the bokeh is part of the story. And I think in this image, it is. There's a beach behind the fence. I think that was it, Rose. So this scene is Stephen Jude, actually, who took this image. Let me put that so that you see that. So the scene, and it seems so moody and evocative. The beach is there, but you cannot get to it. I think the bokeh adds to the feel. Exactly. You're totally right. It does add to the image. And there is one more image after this, but now I talk a bit about the assignments that are on. We are on, I think we're photographing cars, aren't we, this week? Started yesterday or today, actually. Yeah, we photographed some buses, city lights, and also cars. And then next week, we will do indoor macro, which I think will be interesting. And when I say macro, I know not all of you will have a macro lens, so we can also, of course, do close up. It doesn't have to be macro, but something that is a detail or close or something. I think that is something to be, and especially, you would think that buses, city lights, and cars are easy, but they're not, because they're too obvious. And it's kind of been showing that some of the images has been really good, but there hasn't been really superb creative images that many. Of course there has been some, but usually if you have something that is like a bus, it feels to be easy, but it actually is the more simple the assignment is, the harder it actually is to get an image that is something different, that is separates from others. And I think indoor macro is something that I'm looking really forward to. And cars, yeah, you could get some interesting city lights. Yeah, there were some quite good images and really good creativity, because some of you live in not near a city, so you don't really have city lights. Of course, small town, about the same thing. But anyways, there were some creative interpretations of this, and I always like if you can find something that is not the obvious. And that's why I don't think you should rush on Sunday when I release the first, or even before, when you have the list and you look at, okay, Sunday starts car, then you rush and making the images. Don't do that. Think and then do it a bit later on during the week, so that you really have something and some ideas on the images. But yeah, indoor macro will be interesting, because there are a lot of opportunities, and like we've seen here, like the SIM card image on this stream. But I still have one more image, and then we can have a little chat if you still have some time. And this image from James Boyer, and this is made so that you have a heart-shaped kind of like hole. You cut out from cardboard a shape, and then you put it in front of your lens. Sometimes it can even work if you put it between here, but I don't recommend. Put it on front of your lens and try the different sizes and different apertures and fire away, and you will get really nice different shapes bokeh. And I think this is good, for example, for Christmas time. You get star shaped, or of course Valentine's Day, this type, or something like that. But and I think this image works just like this, because it's the heart shape, and you have different colors. And of course the red one here is quite obvious, and this one here is nice, and you got different colors and different layers and different not different excuse me, not different shapes, but different feathering on the edges of the hearts. And I think this is something that is a small hack that you could actually try. And yes, someone says that, and I totally agree about this, that what Kitty Clarico says, and I am amazed at the creativity of the people in this group, and so am I. I knew that there were a lot of talented photographers in the group before, but it has grown, and more people are sending images for this assignment, and it is a big joy for me to see all that dedication that you guys put into this, and it's just, it's really good thing. I'm so glad that I did this. Of course, it's a lot of work to do these and comment on the Facebook, but I try my best and try to give some advice, and you guys are also commenting on the images and telling and asking questions, and you that all builds up the community, and you help each other. So there are a lot of creative people together, and you all help each other. I'm just the hub that's kind of collected you guys together, and I hope I can give my few cents to the whole. But you actually make the whole group. Without you guys, it wouldn't be any live streams with these great images. But do you have any questions or any comments or anything? It's been hour and 17 minutes, so I still have a few minutes here. I'm not in a hurry anywhere. It's and this is, of course, is the main thing, that my photos have improved leagues since I joined the group, and that's of course the main goal, to get you you guys love photography like I do, and you want to be better, because of course when you're getting better, you get more satisfaction of the whole thing, because of course the big thing is to have fun when you make photographs. It's a hobby. You need to enjoy it, and getting those results and progressing on that makes you feel good. When you get better, you feel better. Of course, you learn something, because learning is always something that at least I enjoy, when I learn new things and try new things. And that, of course, is, makes you feel better. But what I try to always say, that don't be afraid to fail also. You need to fail sometimes, so that when you succeed, when you're succeeding. And that's it might sound odd that actually failing helps you. And I actually will publish a video tomorrow about 7 tips about street photography, and there I talk about also this about failure, and don't be afraid to fail, because if you're afraid to fail, you won't succeed, because then you're too afraid to fail, and then that leads that you are actually failing. If you can overcome that, then it's good. And there are some that been saying that it's overwhelming to send the images, and the group has so many talented photographers that you're not, or you're afraid to send it. You don't feel that you're good enough. But don't feel that. You just go on and try, and you will succeed, and the others will help you. So this is a nice community, and you will get better. So don't be afraid to fail. And then another thing is also that don't take the assignment too seriously. Have fun and relax. Then you will start finding the images. If you think too much, overthink the images or other things, then you will have kind of like a creative block, and you don't come up with anything. Just start with the assignment when it's on Sunday or whatever you have time, and then work the whole week about or making the image, and try to get the best one. And also remember that when you see good images, there's always the possibility to copy. It's get ideas from others, and copy that. You won't have the same image. You will have a different image, and nobody really feels bad if you start making or trying to copy. But of course, give credit to the ones that you are kind of influenced by. And okay, I saw this image of yours and I made this I think it's totally okay. But of course, credit always the one that inspired you or the one that you copied. So that's I don't know. It's just is a great thing that we're all here and photographing. And let's see if there are any other comments or questions. Yeah, this is also something like Peter Oddie said. I think it would help some of us to become better photographers if you showed some of the lesser images and explain how to improvement. Okay, yeah, that's also something that I've considered. That I used to do that when I had these monthly assignments, only sending image for this. It wasn't about the Facebook group or any bigger assignments. It was just some topic that I made a video about, and then I wanted to see your images, and then I talked more about that. And that's a good point. And we could do that sometimes. That send me an image that you want me to comment and how it would be better. That could also be a good topic for a live stream. I could do that someday. That'll be actually a good idea. Yeah, was Johnny's asking, how about extension tools for macro? And yeah, that is a good way to start macro. If you don't have a macro lens, don't rush and buy it at the first time you have your ability to go and buy something. Of course, if you have the money and that's not a problem, then by all means. But the better way to start is to use extension tubes. I do have a few macro videos on my channel, so I could link or I will link them before the assignment when it's in 2 weeks or next week. Yeah, so that you can use them. There are different type of macro equipment, and I think you could have these macro lenses, or what do you call this? Kind of like a magnifying lens in front of the lens is one solution, and then you could have extension tubes, which works in any or with any lenses, and that can make you a lens that you already have, a macro lens. That's a good choice to have, and that's something that I recommend starting. And then if you are into macro photography, then start looking for a macro lens. There are some options from OM system, or which are still, I think those lenses are Olympus branded because they don't. And let's see. And then there is a question from Luis. How does one do zoom blur in camera effect? If you mean an image where you got these kind of like what do you call this, like motion trails or whatever, the way it works is to have a bit longer shutter speed, and then you press the shutter button and turn the zoom ring, and then you will get kind of like stuff going. There's one image, I think, in the car assignment that someone has used that, and usually the middle part stays sharp and the edges have these straight lines, and it's something to play around. It's an easy, nice effect, and it works best to do it in camera. Of course, you can make a Photoshop thing, but it doesn't look the same. I think it's better to do it in camera. And let's see. Yeah, that's true. What Don is saying. Copying is the highest form of flattery. Yeah, I know it is. Like, I think it was it Picasso who said that great artists, or was it like good artists copy and the great ones steal? I think it was. I'm not sure if it was with Picasso, but someone very famous painter said that. Let me see. Do you have any? Oh, let's see. Jörg Hömmerjohan already posted an image of a car on this live stream. Not going to comment on that. Yeah, if you have any questions or anything right now, if not, then let me go back and remind you once more that what we are having tomorrow on Jimmy Cheng's channel. So don't miss this. It's going to be exciting to talk with these two talented YouTubers and photographers about the new camera. But I guess that we are done in a way, because there are no more questions and we looked at the images, and keep them coming, and I will have another live stream in here next time. I think I planned it on, I don't remember the day, but I think in 2 weeks, because we're already in car and then it's indoor macro. Yeah, in a couple of weeks we will have the next one, and be creative. And I will put the link, what I promised, in the description of this video, if I remember what it was. Probably do. But hey, thanks so much for being here and sending those beautiful images. I just love this whole thing. Thank you so much. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.